Chronicles of. It's shot very cinematically, but it's not on a movie screen. It's not on TV just yet. How does one define a cinematic image?
Um, for me, a cinematic image is using every visual element within the frame to help further the story and tell the story. Um, we try and use everything we can, from the location to the lens to the movement within the scene to the wardrobe to the distance, the amount of distance between the characters, all those things. The lighting, of course, movement of the camera. We try and incorporate all those things when trying to create a cinematic image, and we try and get as creative as we can, because our budget is below micro. So use what we can to help make it look like we actually had a budget.
Yeah, and I think you achieve that.
Thank you.
um,
Thank you.
so
Appreciate it.
your approach to lighting is it's very stark. Even in the some of the outdoor scenes, you've got the kind of bright and shadow on the other side. You guys talked about that beforehand, or was that a kind of a happy accident you discovered on set?
Um, some of it was definitely, we definitely had our share of happy accidents, but during we spent about a year in pre-production. My cinematographer Malachi Macho and I, just trying to craft the look of the series, sharing some cinematic frames from some of our favorite pieces. Um, I like a lot of noir stuff. So does he. And I like a lot of modern noir too. So movies like Seven were definitely an influence. I like the lighting style of Robert Richardson.
Hmm.
He was a huge influence on the type of things I was trying to achieve. But I also like the look of that muted, look of like a Tarkovsky.
Sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of the look, your series has a very distinct look. In something like film and TV right now that's so saturated with all these different looks, I feel like you guys have found something unique. At what point did that come about?
Um, I think a lot of that came through in pre-production, but it's also a blending of two styles and trying to find a happy medium and making sure it was true to the tone and mood of the story. Um, a lot of it again was in the research of the locations. We were handicapped in that, you know, as you know, finding locations is really tough. So we put a lot of work in finding locations that were attainable, that we could get for relatively little to no cost, or places that we could shoot guerrilla style, but that would have maximum visual impact and effect. Um, as far as framing looks and that type of visual style, like I said, there's a lot of great cinematographers out there that and directors whose visual style, I'm a huge fan of. Mainly, Michael Mann is huge, and a lot of the stuff that I like. So, but we came to that look in that visual style, um, pretty much through trial and error. Trying different things out, taking some time over the course of our working relationship together, my cinematographer and I, and just coming to this, okay, I think we found it, and we're gonna run with it.
So when you did these set visits, did you bring a camera with you, and did you discover part of the look that way? You guys were shooting ahead of time, like kind of test shoots and things like that, to find this look.
Sometimes we had a camera with us. Sometimes sometimes we'd have the actual camera we shot on. Sometimes we just have like a 5D. Sometimes a lot of it was just phone. Oh, sorry.
I thought that was like your Rocky theme.
No, that's actually the theme song to the 1950s version of Godzilla.
Oh, awesome.
So, but yeah, we definitely snapped a lot of frames. Like even right now, my photo library is just filled with thousands and thousands and thousands of photos from just us trying to, find locations and taking pictures of locations and We went around the entire tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, trying to find these spots.
And you've got a lot of browns, a lot of earth tones, even with the man-made structures. That's
100%.
a really cool look.
Thanks, man. That's definitely the warehouse. I definitely um, visually, it just that's the color palette that kind of speaks to me, and where I see or dream my imagery.
Oh, interesting. So, do a lot of these ideas for shots? I know you are also a DP on other things, not your web series, because you've got so many roles. Um, do you ever like see something in your head and like, yeah, that's it, and you wake up and you sketch it or something along those lines?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. The notepad on my cell phone is a few years deep now of just images and notes, and yeah, I do a lot of test photos. You know, some stuff you take from your idols and you just try and remix it a little bit. So
Sure,
um,
works for Tarantino and just
absolutely.
about everybody else that's ever made a movie, except for
So
maybe Hollis Frampton.
yeah, so different types of influences, a little bit of art. I like very contrasty lighting also.
Yeah.
So there's certain types of medieval and Renaissance era art that really speaks to me
Hmm.
visually.
That's interesting that you mentioned art because I was talking with some of the other filmmakers, and it seems to be a recurring thing that whether it's music or I bring it up a lot, art
Hmm.
being another um, another reference, another place to draw references, and to be exposed to different types of media can ultimately help what you're making.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I write with music, so I don't know. I generally, almost always when I write, I always have some sort of music going on.
Okay. Okay. Um, I know I usually write. Occasionally I put on music, but it's not absolutely necessary. Like sometimes I'll just sit and I'll need quiet, as much quiet as I can get with my kids in the other room, and I'll just type and I'll type and I'll go into a flow. Um, and for me, the music comes later.
Gotcha.
Typically, do you have like an audio visual image when you're conceiving some of these things?
No, I think the what happens is the music will stir up certain moods and emotions in me when I'm writing, and that'll translate to the paper. Uh, and I think that's where how it really influences me. It really just puts me in the zone. Um, I'm just weird like that. Uh, my mind quieted. A quiet mind for me is not very functional. So,
Yeah, okay. It's tough. You
so
need something to
uh,
push you in the right direction. And a lot
yeah.
of people have mentioned that too. I mean, music is a popular one.
Hmm.
But, even just anything beyond just film,
Hmm.
TV, it'll take your mind to a bit of a different place.
Right. Yeah.
So utilize everything.
Absolutely.